Would you like to know how to journal for your mental health? Well, the hint is try to find and use good prompts. Often if you sit in front of a blank sheet of paper and you're trying to journal and you have anxiety or depression, you go for 5 or 10 minutes and you might find yourself feeling worse by the end of the journaling process. That defeats the purpose of journaling for mental health. We don't want to do that, so I encourage the use of really good prompts. I have 8 for you right here if you want to watch the video. Hi, my name is Jesse. Welcome to the channel Open Source Owners, where we talk about what if humans had an owner's manual. Brief overview of the state of mental health in 2022. Depression being the #1 cause of disability and injury worldwide. 350 million people each year are affected by depression, and it is now the #1 cause of injury and disability worldwide. In the United States of America, anxiety is the #1 mental health condition, very closely followed by depression, and that affects about 1 in 5 people. Roughly 25% every single year of United States American citizens suffer from anxiety. And worldwide, 1 billion people are affected by mental health and mental health disorders. Of those 1 billion people, 75% of them never receive any form of treatment. And in the modern era with YouTube and the day and age of the internet, treatment should not just be limited to being able to afford it through insurance or be able to get pills with a psychiatrist. There is treatment out there that is sort of like this. It's just peer-to-peer. Someone in the field who has been working on this for the past 10 years, trying to help other people out there figure it out, sort of navigate this world on their own. And the goal of my channel is to capture that 75% of people who never receive treatment and to try to provide pathways, roadmaps, processes that can help with their mental health struggles. Okay, so these prompts are sort of what I consider to be universal. They are generally speaking going to help for pretty much all mental health conditions, and of course they would be beneficial to anybody who did them because they're just sort of good general open questions that you get to go inside and sort of discover on your own. Now with my clients, I sometimes talked about journaling as being like a therapist on a page, because a therapist is really good at probing into areas of your psyche, of your emotional experience, of your history that you may not go to otherwise, and then they're able to help you make sense of how you are, who you are, and also make sense of some of the struggles that you're facing. But we can do that on our own with good journaling prompts. Now, I'm not saying that you don't need therapists or additional support. That can be life-saving for many people. But the process of journaling is a deeper, sort of more rewarding process sometimes than talk therapy, because it's you with you. It's a question that causes you to think and go deep, and nobody's there sort of judging or editing, or nobody even has to know what your answers are. It's just self-knowledge. If you're interested in following along with these 8 journal prompts as we go, I highly recommend that you have a piece of paper and something to write with. And obviously you might need to pause as we go through this video to just give yourself time to contemplate those prompts. So grab that now and we'll jump into prompt number 1 when you're ready. Okay, prompt number 1. What is my greater purpose in this life? Now, this can be a very challenging prompt to answer. It can be an unknown. It can be just a bunch of question marks in a row. And that's why this question exists. It's probing into the unknown to see if you can delve up, dredge up some of the knowns about your gifts, your unique interests, your unique talents that bring you here to Earth in 2022, and how we can interface with this Earth in a meaningful way. The sort of follow-ups to that are, what is or are the things that I would do for free, with enthusiasm, or to help others, just because I feel called to do so? Some examples could be spend time with nature, spend time with children, spend time with elders, do things in nature, help other people, etc. Oftentimes, with prompt number 1, this will be connected to your future self, thinking 10 to 15 years from now, and understanding where you really, really, truly want to land 10 to 15 years from now. And again, I know that this can be very challenging, and this can cause all sorts of uncertainty and anxiety and fear within you. However, I encourage you to still consider these questions. And if it's really challenging, all the more reason to work on the same question over several days in a row. Maybe try answering the same question once a day for a whole week, or once a day for a whole month, because slowly but surely you'll start to uncover things, and the fear and the panic that is associated with questions about like your future, where you're going to be in 10 years, they start to become less intense and less scary, and you actually start to craft. And this is the point of these journaling prompts, is that we can actually craft the future that we want to have. Okay, so that is prompt number 1. Go ahead and pause here if you want more time to finish prompt number 1. In the meantime, we're going to move on to prompt number 2. What does the good life mean to you emotionally? In other words, what does your good life feel like regularly? Are you looking for certain emotions? What are those emotions? Is it peace? Is it fun? Is it creativity? Is it excitement? Is it routine? Is it the deep love that you have with children, or the deep love that you have with pets or nature? And I say here, list 5 to 7 feelings that you sort of never get sick of, 5 to 7 feelings that you really live for. And that way you'll have a sort of horizon that you're aiming toward. Now, purpose and meaning in life is so often decided by your emotional relationship to those things. Even things like trauma, and whether you had trauma or not, is an emotional connection that is unique to you. Not everybody who lives through the same experiences would have the same reaction, but you do because of your unique emotional makeup. And it is emotions that often cause the problems in mental health, but it's also emotions that are really the solution and the way out of the problems in mental health. As we say in the permaculture world, the problem is the solution. So if the emotions are the problem, then guess what? The emotions are the solution. And beginning to understand what emotions we never tire of and that we want to experiencing more of is one of the ways that we can really reclaim our relationship with our emotions. Okay, that's the end of prompt number 2. If you need to pause, go ahead and pause here. Here is prompt number 3. What does this good life mean for you mentally? So what are you thinking and what are you not thinking about? How are the quality of your thoughts? So this is putting this good life idea into the framework of just what's going on between the ears. Are you not thinking about a certain relationship? Are you not thinking about spending too much time thinking about a stressful work environment? Okay, so being clear about what you don't want in your head. Also begin to get clear about what you do want in your head. What types of thoughts do you want? What types of dialogues do you want to be having in your own mind? Do you want silence? Do you want peace? Do you just want kindness? Do you want more gratitude? Those are the types of things we want to identify when it comes to our own thinking apparatus. All right, that's the end of prompt number 3. Go ahead and pause here if you need more time. In the meantime, we're going to move on to prompt number 4. What does it mean? And by it, we're talking about the good life. What does the good life mean materially to you? So what are you surrounded by? Now, this could be like, physical things like I want a Lamborghini or I want a house with 400 rooms in it. But I would encourage you to go a little bit deeper, maybe a lot bit deeper, into the materiality of the world that you actually feel fills your spirit, fills your soul, fills your heart with love and connection, and you sort of like couldn't live without it. So this is things like I want to be near water. I want to be where it's warm. I hate the cold weather. Or I want to be where there's 4 seasons, right? Or maybe you want to have like a greenhouse or a sauna, or maybe you want to have gardens, or maybe you want to be near a beach. These are the things that I talk about mostly when I'm talking about materiality, not big screen TVs and fancy watches and that type of stuff. That stuff is fine, but you also want to include things like you want to be near animals. Well, okay, which type of animals? You want to be near community. Okay, what kind of community? So that's what we mean when we say materially. What do you physically want to be surrounded by? And you can be very, very specific about this, or you can just be more general. So go ahead and take as long as you need to finish prompt number 4, and we're going to move on now to prompt number 5. Prompt number 5, what does it mean relationally? So what does the good life mean for you relationally? What kind of relationships do you have? Who are the people that you're around? Who are the people that you're not around? You don't have to name them by name, but you can name them by quality. What types of behaviors do you not want to be around? What types of behaviors do you want to be around? What activities do you want to be engaged in? Are there children, pets, nature? What is your relationship like with your partner? If you don't have a partner, you can begin to envision what that might be like now, which will actually make your likelihood of achieving that partnership much more likely if you can sort of envision it and fully understand what it is in your imagination first. Then you're much more likely to receive that later from the universe. Okay, prompt number 5. Go ahead and pause there if you need a minute. We're going to move on to prompt number 6. All right, prompt number 6. What are my core values and am I living by them? Follow up, how can I align better with my core values? Okay, so values are things like, I value honesty, I value fun, I value peacetime, I value my alone time, that type of thing. And you might not know, and that's okay. That's the point of these prompts, is they get you to really think about these, whereas many of us have never thought about these. Side note, I believe types of journaling prompts like this should be core curriculum in elementary and middle school. So we actually begin to get introspective as we are growing and developing ourselves. Okay, back to prompt number 6. One way to figure out your values if you're really struggling is to think about what is called by this author self-care superhero. And borrow their values. So you might think, gosh, I've always looked up to Beyonce because, and the answer to the because are going to be values, because she's fierce, because she speaks her mind, because she's compassionate, because she's creative, right? And it might be Jesus for you, or Yoda, or Mr. Rogers. It doesn't matter who it is. Maybe it's your great-grandfather. Finding that person that you've always looked up to as sort of a North Star, and then extrapolating their values. What do they do? How are they being in their life? Those are where you get the values from. If they were experiencing depression, anxiety, or any mental health issue that you may be experiencing, what advice would they give you? What would they do? Would they change their behavior? Would they try different approaches than you might try? And that's the type of thing that we want to actually get inspired by. The values that we actually appreciate and want to emulate can in turn inspire us to actually live into those values. And then who knows, maybe 10 years down the road, you're the embodiment of the values that somebody else looks up to and says, man, I wish I was more like you. Okay, last 2 prompts. Prompt number 7. What are some of my core boundaries? Where am I letting my own values down by not setting clear boundaries with myself or with others? Okay, so the idea here is tying the values that you value in life with the boundaries that you're setting. That's the whole point of boundaries, is to protect yourself and to protect your values from the external world so that you're not losing sight of your values or your morals, right? So examples of boundaries, there are many, 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 but they could include with other people. So, saying yes when you really mean no. Being with people that really make you feel uncomfortable without internally setting a clear boundary with them, such as, okay, I'll go to that family gathering, but I'm never going to be in the room alone with fill in the blank, or I will leave after an hour and a half no matter what, because that's about as much as I can tolerate before it actually degrades the quality of my life. Those could be examples of boundaries with other people. You could have boundaries with yourself. So, I value creativity time, but I'm spending all my time on social media just endlessly scrolling. So maybe a boundary there is I'll limit my exposure to social media. I'll do it in the morning and at night for maybe a half hour, and then that's it. So that could be a boundary with yourself. Or I won't eat, bagels because they give me headaches because I have a blood sugar spike. Or I won't eat or I won't drink too much alcohol because when I drink more than blah, blah, blah amount of alcohol, it degrades my mood and my energy the next day, etc. There's much more to say about boundaries, but for now, that's enough to get us started. Go ahead and finish prompt number 7. And when you're ready, unpause the video and we'll get to prompt number 8. All right, here's prompt number 8. What will you have to give up in order to live this good life that you've now defined? So you can't eat what? You can't drink what? You can't stay up until when? You can't, wake up at what time? You can't be around who or what type of person. So these are the things. You don't have to call people out by name necessarily, but you can. But you can just start to be clear about like the types of habits that you need to be around from yourself and from other people. And this, again, is an extrapolation of boundaries. When we're saying we want to give up stuff, it's not because I want to deprive you or you want to deprive yourself of some of the awesome things about life. Rather, it's an empowerment practice so that you can say, hey, in the infinite possible space of being a human, I could choose all these different things. I'm going to narrow that down because some of those things aren't actually good for me. Some of those things don't align with where I want to go. Don't align with what I say I want out of this life or my lived day or my lived experience. Okay, that's prompt number 8. If you need more time, go ahead and pause. Otherwise, we're going to jump onto mentorship. A little bit of help goes a long way. Do you feel like you could use a hand with your mental health? You could use maybe an accountability partner. You could use somebody to give prompts like journaling prompts. Well, then you're in luck because I offer a mentorship program. You can see the details here. Basically, we just go through a yearly program and it keeps going for longer than a year. If you want to stay in, you sign up. Whatever month we're in is the focus of the month. And then we will be going through these systematically to improve the mental health and the quality of our life in each of these 4 areas. And I'm just as a mentor. So I offer weekly coaching calls. You can have access to question and answer type things through that, but also emails and goals and sort of curated information. There are two things that will really help our mental health, one of which is knowledge and the other of which is behaviors, right? We need the knowledge so we know what to do differently, and then we need to actually change the behaviors. Well, my mentorship program is meant to help you with both of those areas. Now, I can't be there in your bedroom telling you to wake up in the morning, but I can give you the information so that you understand how sleep affects mental health, and then I can sort of suggest various things that we can do behaviorally to begin to change slowly but surely those patterns so that our mental health slowly but surely no longer plagues us. Wouldn't that be nice? If you made it this far in the video, go ahead and leave a comment below. What was the most important thing? What were some of your answers to the prompts? I would love to hear that. We would all love to hear that. Thank you so much for watching. That was how to journal for mental health with prompts, right? With really good prompts. That's what's really key. So I hope that these served you well, and I hope that you take care of yourself out there. We'll talk to you in the next one.